Alright everybody, welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. I am so glad to be back, and with me being back, Chucky has been changed. I did a video a few days ago when behavior showed off some of the changes. However, I have now played in the PTB a bit and gotten to actually get my hands on it and form somewhat of a proper analysis. Now, it should be noted that PTB is not accurate of real gameplay for so many reasons. People aren't bringing optimal perk builds. A lot of people are testing things out and not actually playing like the normal game, quote unquote. And MMR, while it does exist, is very, very lenient on PTB. However, for everything I'm about to say, I really don't think that matters too much, because a lot of this is going to be how it feels to play Chucky now. Because, man, listen, I was kind of worried about getting rid of Scamper to a degree. I no longer am I. It is the reduced cooldown on Slice and Dice has made Chucky immediately become way, way, way more fun. The way I worded it on Twitter, which you should follow, links below, is Chucky feels like, instead of me thinking in my head, should I scamper this pallet? Or should I scamper here? Or should I scamper there? Or should I hold it? Or should I do that? My thought process has now become, can I slice and dice this? Not should I. It's can I. I am more thinking ahead because I'm not as punished when I miss. Which, don't get me wrong, you know, I was good enough on Chucky to where I didn't miss my slice and dices that much, even though the background gameplay is probably missing them a lot. But I'm missing them more now because I'm willing to go for those shots that I might not hit because of the reduced cooldown. The reduced cooldown also means that I'm undetectable more often throughout the match, which means that, in general, survivors don't know my exact location and can't see me coming from a mile away if I'm using line of sight properly. Now, granted, I did get a lot of indoor maps today, so I wasn't really able to test that out too much, but it is what it is.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I have merch now. with Scamper Dead, we do have the Bartholomew Von Scamper mug, which was inspired by comments in my Twitch chat, also links below, that have basically become his own character. And I have the amazing artist Smurfy, whose links will also be below, to thank for this. And also, as well as the Chuck Spot t-shirt. I need to make this very clear. This is a legally distinct, not Chucky merch, okay? Don Mancini, please do not knock my door down. Please. Thank you. And in any case, if you would like to get any of this, and there will be more on the way, I have some other ones planned. The link to the website will be below. It's fourthwall.com. I know they're a little bit expensive, but all the money most of the money goes to me, and it's the easiest way you can support me apart from watching the videos and being a member and all that. You don't have to buy anything. I'm not telling you to. I'm just saying, if you want to support me and you want some funny merch, why not? In any case, I'll get back to the video, but have a good one, guys. Now, the big question a lot of people have been asking, there's two big questions from a lot of Chucky mains. Three, actually. Scancels. Scancels are dead. I don't know if they'll get reverted from feedback, but I have a feeling they won't. Personally, I didn't use Scancels that much. I did a video all on it that is now irrelevant because they're gone. I didn't think Scancels were super unhealthy. They were extremely situational and, for the most part, pretty difficult to do. I wouldn't care if behavior brought them back in. At the same time, I'm pretty apathetic to them going away. However, I do understand that there were Chucky mains who basically built their entire foundation of this character around scanceling, and I feel bad for them, and it just sucks to hear. It really does. Because once again, it wasn't super impactful, and I even stated it in that video, same with the person teaching me, that it's useful in like 2% of situations. Most of the time, people just do it because they can, not because it's good. Second thing is window scampers. You can still manually window scamper. So this does still give you an increased vault speed, and there's a couple add-ons that have been adjusted to account for this. But it does give you the increased vault speed, and this is something with old Chucky I think was often not really talked about because the pallet scamper was so powerful on most loops. Window scamper is really, really strong at a lot of tiles, particularly Shack. If you use it correctly, you can basically guarantee a hit. We're going to do a whole video on loops, including Shack, now that things have been adjusted. But pretty much the basic gist of it, if you're coming into Shack through the doorway without the pallet and they run to the window, activate Hidey Ho, hit the scamper through, and Chucky slide into from after about 2 seconds of walking when you're like almost at the corner, and you can flick inside the doorway before they even have a chance to make it anywhere. But there's a lot of loops you can do things like that for. As far as turn rate goes, his turn rate has not been adjusted at all. I would like to see it adjusted if Behavior's listening to this. I don't think they are, but if they are, I don't think we should go back to the 180s. I have thought about the 180s for a while, ever since they went away. As much as I want them back, I do think a reasonable change would be maybe let us do 120. Let us curve it just a little bit more. The 90 still feels restrictive unless you know how to slide properly on certain loops. And I don't think his skill ceiling needs to be that high. Chuck spots are still in, so I'm happy with that. As many people know, I enjoy my little Chuck spots of hiding behind a corner and hitting people as they run into me. That being said, I do want to shout out one of the new perks. I forget the name, but it's the one that if you're standing still for long enough, you see the killer's aura. That completely kills Chuck spots. However, it probably won't be ran that much, so it is what it is. Other than that, add-ons. So going into add-ons, because this was the other big question. What about add-on adjustments? So some of the more notable ones. Hard Hat basically does what it did. If you scamper under a pallet, it breaks the pallet. However, because you can't manually scamper, you can only do this with a slice and dice. So Hard Hat basically works the same way it did. However, I kind of am inclined to think it's better now because the option of scampering has been taken out. I know that sounds strange to say, but now it's more of a tool rather than like a requirement. Now that the cooldown is so low on slice and dice, you can kind of risk doing that. I still haven't gotten or been able to immediately hit someone directly behind a pallet with a slice and dice hit, or like stop my momentum immediately after scampering under a pallet. So we'll see how that goes in the future. But for now, I think Hard Hat, I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's definitely moved up from detrimental to actually a pretty okay add-on now. Pile of Nails got nerfed. I don't know why. I don't know anyone who does know why. So it went down from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. Now, the problem with Pile of Nails isn't actually its effect, to be honest. The 5 second undetectable is actually kind of nice. The problem with its effect was that when you manually got out of Hidey Ho mode, you would laugh very loudly. So they know. And they already probably know your general location. And now they know your exact location. And for 5 seconds, it's whatever. But for 3 seconds, it basically, by the time the laugh's over, your undetectable's gone. So, yeah. I have a very interesting suggestion for Pile of Nails. I want to do a whole video going over this idea. But I'm going to throw this out there, and you guys can call me an insane person now. I think Pile of Nails should give you 8 seconds of undetectability when you manually get out of Hidey Ho. Because I feel like this would have an entirely different playstyle of Chucky where you don't slice and dice, you're just manually going in and out of Hidey Ho and just staying undetectable the entire match. I don't know how fun that would be, but Chucky wouldn't have slice and dice as reliably, so who knows? Because the cooldowns would kind of match up. Not completely. There would be moments where you are detectable, but yeah, I think it'd be interesting. Otherwise, Yardstick was changed. They buffed it a little bit. So it went from 12 meters to 16 meters. And the aura read went down to 3 seconds from 5. Now, this only works on scampers. So this works when you slice and dice under a pallet, so you scamper the pallet. But it also works on window scampers. And that's the big thing here. It works on window scampers in a wider radius. And because of how low the cooldown is, you're often going to be in Hidey Ho way more than you ever were prior to this change. I feel inclined that you can stay in Hidey Ho for most of the match now and not be as punished as you used to be if you did it at the wrong time. It's very nice in that sense. But Yardstick changing it's just a nice little quality of life buff. It was definitely weaker than Rat Poison, and Rat Poison wasn't changed at all for some reason. A lot of his add-ons weren't changed. Power Drill is still the same. Screwdriver is still the same. Carving Knife is still the same. Mirror Shards and Plastic Bag weren't touched. Amulet wasn't touched. None of the Browns were touched. So basically, the only add-ons that changed were the ones that directly interacted with Scamper and Pile of Nails for some reason. But that being said, Power Drill, I do want to talk about Power Drill. Power Drill now is technically nerfed. Because of the lower cooldown, you actually get less of a cooldown reduction from landing a hit. However, you go from a 12-second cooldown to a 10-second cooldown. Doesn't seem like much, but that can add up in certain situations, and honestly, I liked it a lot. Even Carving Knife. Carving Knife, it lowers it by 10% the cooldown if you miss. So it's about a 1.5 second cooldown. Or, I'm sorry, 1.2 second cooldown reduction. So it brings it down to 11 seconds. It's not as good, but it's kind of nice, and it brings me on to my next point of, you can use Slice and Dice for mobility now. You could do this before, especially if you ran specific add-ons, but for the most part, it was kind of something you didn't want to do because of how long it took to do it again when you needed it. But now, with it being 12 seconds, for the most part, if you need to use it for mobility, you can, and you're not punished as much. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? I think it's good for the Chucky player, because I think one of the biggest issues with Chucky, in my opinion, was that a lot of times it felt like you were just kind of sitting around waiting for your power, and that never feels good on any killer. We're going to talk about Vecna in a couple days once I played around with him more, but that's probably my biggest problem with Vecna right now. It's not even necessarily that you're punished, it's that you have to wait so long to get them. But at the same time, don't want to make this about Vecna, but there's a reason for it, and I understand that. My phone went off, sorry. But yeah, it's just a feel-good update. Like, Chucky just feels better. Scampers, well, like I've said many times before, this isn't how I would have done it as far as nerfing Scamper, but I think it is for the better health of the game in general. Scampers are still there. They're just integrated into the power more so than being their own separate thing, which I think is fine. I'm sure some Chucky mains are going to be very disappointed in this update, but for the most part, most of the ones I've talked to, Ghost Anonymous, who's been on plenty of videos here, Mr. Samsonian, who's been on the Scamper video, Newell, a few other Chucky players. For the most part, most people kind of like this. It brings out more of the fun part of his power. And I know fun is very subjective, but for the most part, a lot of people found the Scamper, or not the Scamper, I'm sorry, the Slice and Dice the most fun. And this new change makes it so you're doing that more often and don't feel punished for going for dumb hits that, granted, might actually land. You never know. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of the Chucky changes. I know some people aren't happy, but I am genuinely okay with this change. I think it makes him feel better. And like I said, the word I constantly use to describe him is smoother. I will be playing Chucky on stream for the next couple days. Not on PTB because of the long queue times in general. I'm kind of done with PTB. I might try Vecna a little bit more, but that's about it. But if you want to catch me live on stream, that stuff is below. And yeah, in any case, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, and bye.
Subscribe, damn it. I'll be back. I always come back, and so should you, you moron.